Hey, what's up, guys? This is Kango, your favorite new friend, and today I am going to talk about why I moved from California to Austin and why I love Austin so much, especially as a young entrepreneur. So, a lot of people has been hearing about this new Austin boom, this whole new ecosystem here in Austin, and they are struggling picking whether or not they should come to Austin or somewhere else or stay in California, I guess. But let me share some of my experience and how I got here and why I chose to stay. During the pandemic, I was working on this app called Gumdrop back in California in my lonely bedroom because I had nothing to do. Everything was shut down in California. And I was working on this app, no one was using it, and I don't think there was any way that I can get people to use it because it was during the pandemic. So I decided to take a trip to Texas because I've always heard about Texas. I've heard about the barbecue here. I heard it was good, but never got a chance to try it. So I decided I'm gonna go to Texas. Before I come to Texas, I had these stereotypes turn out to be totally not true. I thought people here is gonna be a little racist because I lived in Alabama. It was so fucking racist over there. Not everybody, but a lot of them, and it was kind of in their culture. And I thought in Texas there's gonna be a lot of white people everywhere, which is not that true here in Austin. There's a lot of white people, but there's also a lot of other folks. And in Houston, you just see perfect amount of everything. And then, yeah, that was kind of my stereotypes. But anyway, I was in California working on this app and I couldn't do anything, so I decided I'm gonna take a trip to Texas. My co-founder at the time, Gilbert, one of my favorite co-founder, I challenged someone to take his place, but he's one of my favorite. So co-founder Gilbert at the time, he was living in Austin. San Antonio. That's where he was living. And I decided I'm gonna go visit him for the first stop. And off I went to San Antonio. I was still working on the app, still no one was using that. Took about 2 months in San Antonio, and I hit up Gilbert. I said, hey, Gilbert, I know you went to UT Austin. I would really love to check it out and potentially make some friends. So off we went. We went to UT Austin for the first time. That was probably my first time in Austin, 2020, I believe. And oh my God, it was like people walking around. It was just amazing at the time. So I went to UT Austin the first day, and Gilbert showed me around and everything. I didn't have any friends. I had 0 friends in Texas other than Gilbert. So I decided I'm gonna make some friends on campus at a time. And people here are so freaking friendly compared to San Francisco. I don't know why, but in San Francisco, every time I go back to San Francisco, it's kind of weird for me that people don't like to make eye contact and smile to people. In here it's totally normal that people smile at each other or make eye contacts even if you don't know each other. So that's what happened at UT Austin, which is that way from where I'm sitting right now. UT Austin, a lot of friends. First day I made like 20 friends, got the Instagram and all that stuff. And the second day I made another 20. I did that for about 2 weeks, and people just start downloading Gumdrop like crazy. There's this very entrepreneurial spirit going on at UT. From University of San Francisco, you never see like any project that is going on. Like there's no student startups. You can see there are what is it called? There's no student project that are being tested on campus. You know, there's like rarely any, right? Like at best someone sells cookie and stuff. But at UT Austin, like you will see 3-5 projects that are simultaneously going on campus, live testing on all these students. And I was shocked. So Gumdrop being one of them, very glad. And people just starting downloading Gumdrop like crazy after I made friends. I didn't even tell them I was working on Gumdrop. But they weren't really using it. So I interviewed a lot of the students and ended up pivoting into a college experience app, which ended up getting acquired back in 2021. And the reason why it was acquired, a lot of it is because of Austin and the place that I'm sitting in, Capital Factory. Gotta represent. So The first time I heard about Capital Factory was from my friend who went through the accelerator here long times ago, back when they had accelerator. So Gumdrop was doing pretty well at UT Austin. A lot of people was using it, and I was really happy, honestly. And after that, we ran out of money. I went to Mexico for 2 months. I came back. It was just not doing very well. And then we had a lot of interns at the time. I think there was 12 interns at the time. It was a big team, but we ran out of money, right? We ran out of time too, which is bad news. It was the first time we decided we're going to fundraise. So talking about fundraising, I never had an experience at that point. I didn't know what to go. I thought Accelerator would be a good place to fundraise as well as learn, as well as expand your network. So Capital Factory was the first place I went. The first day I came here, I was so scared. I just didn't know anything about how to pitch a startup. And I met with the guy who was in charge of the membership at the time, and he told me I was too early for the accelerators here. So I ended up buying this this membership here. I remember at the time I think it was $400 a month. It was worth it. I had that for a couple months, but it was shocking. It just, my God, it was just so freaking amazing. I am not getting paid to do this, first of all. I just love this place. But when I first got in here, I remember the first day, they let me work here for free. And I was shy, but I made some friends here. And then I asked them what they were doing, and it just totally blew me away. It was this small space. It was like one level of floor, and you see 10 different freaking startups, 20 different startups. People just walking around, staying on their table. They were just grinding, and I asked them what they do, and I asked them where they're at. I'm just shocked. These are really amazing entrepreneurs. And I was brushing shoulder with all these amazing entrepreneurs who are 1,000 steps way ahead of me, who have a lot years of experience ahead of me. And I was just able to get a lot of good advice. I made friends with these folks. They were really kind to me. They got me into more accelerators. They teach me how to operate. They taught me how to raise money. They taught me how to pitch people my startup. They taught me how to recruit people better and manage people better. It just freaking amazing to be able to learn these things from people who raised millions of dollars, who have exited business before, right? At the time, I didn't even exit mine. So it was just a very dynamic and vibrant community the first day I was here, even during the pandemic. So I was shocked. And they were telling me that before the pandemic, there was more people, and I was really shocked. There was a lot of people already. Anyway, I was able to meet a lot of cool folks at Capital Factory that provided a lot of help to me in my startup journey. Just pull a lot of investor connections and talent connections. The most important thing really here is that to be able to be in a environment where you are constantly brushing shoulder with folks who are way ahead of you, right? And that's just the biggest thing I'm getting out of here in Austin, in particular Capital Factory. But in Austin overall, there's a lot of people who are well, Capital Factory for sure has a lot of these people, but as well as other places such as Draper Ecosystem, and then a couple individual folks who are scattered around here. They're also really helpful, and there's a lot of people moving out here. There's a lot of scouts from big VCs who are moving here in Austin. We see them around these events. So the ecosystem, the startup ecosystem at UT Austin, I really can't complain, right? So as a young entrepreneur, I really loved it, and that was the biggest driver why I decided to stay here. Now, also there's other things. This is why I was attracted to Austin. But this is not unique to Austin. A lot of things I'm talking about is not unique to Austin. We have a lot of investors in the Bay Area, and we have a lot of startup resources in the Bay Area, and they're way bigger than here in Austin at this moment. And the reason why I decided that California is not really a place for me is because as a young entrepreneur, I remember I just couldn't get into any circles in San Francisco. You got to know people to be able to get to those top folks in San Francisco. Otherwise, you're just talking a whole bunch of noise, and that's quite annoying, honestly, because I really didn't know how how to do everything entrepreneurship wise. And then as well as the politics, it was just going out of control in California. I really hate politics, first of all. I'm not a guy who likes to talk a lot about politics. I don't like politics. I don't like to pick sides. Come on, guys. And there's just so many stupid shit that's happening right now. If you look at San Francisco, you go to Tenderloin, you go to downtown Los Angeles, and it's just a mess. In San Bernardino now, it's a mess. There's so many homeless everywhere. You walk in a clean suit or some comfortable clothing, you walk down these beautiful street and you just see needles and shit and piss around the street. And I just don't think that's a place that I really want to be around anymore. It's so disgusting. And people are just constantly getting these bullshits from school. You know, it's crazy that my science class was kind of political. They start talking about global warming, you know, that, which is fine, but like we're talking about astronomy class, right? Like anyway, I'm sorry I'm getting sidetracked, but that's just the politics in California is getting out of control. The people are just crazy. I don't know why people don't vote, because there's a portion of people who vote in California, and those people who vote are always the people. They're kind of weird. They're very extreme in their point of views. And when they're extreme in their point of views, everyone else suffers, right? And everything's so expensive. You are looking at about $18 per meal, probably in San Francisco, right? And that's just ridiculous for food. That's crazy. So overall, because the opportunities here in Austin, I really loved it. And the people here in Austin, I really loved it. And people in California, well, they're not bad. They're just kind of cold, but the politics and the policies more the policies in California is just out of control. It's so stupid. And then there's, you know, the price, right? The living expense in California just not very sustainable for a lot of young people. Well, for a lot of old people as well. But overall, these are my biggest take and comparison between Austin and San Francisco and even Los Angeles in California. I really think it's a great place. I've heard a lot of good things about Florida. I haven't get a chance to check it out yet, but maybe they're good. But anyway, you know, Austin's like 1,000 times better than Northern California for me, and I think it's gonna be the same thing for a lot of young entrepreneurs who might lack of that connection, because Austin is a place where it's new. It's a new ecosystem that people are forming right now. Everybody is not from here. Everybody's from somewhere else. So with you coming here, you really get that first to market advantage. I remember during the pandemic, there weren't many people active on the scene, and I came to Capital Factory, and I came to this event called Fiesta. Now it's one of the biggest networking event here in Austin. Fiesta is one of the biggest monthly event, and I remember 2020, I believe, or 2021. I can't remember which one. But I went to the second event. That was only probably like 30, less than 50 people showing up. Now there's like hundreds of people at this event. But really, because of that, you were able to, now everybody knows about you. Now everybody give you the intro, right? Now everybody kind of, because you were the only couple games in town, you get that referral really easily, right? And people, you get famous easily. Let me just put it this way. You get famous really easy. Like 2021, end of 2021, my goodness, it was so fun. It was so fun to be able to exit my company. It was so fun to be able to, you know, be that guy where, you know, just everybody congratulates. And it just so fun. So much opportunities here, right? So guys, make your pick. It's just my personal experience. I really can't say much. I just don't like what the folks are doing in California. Honestly, I love the weather there. Oh yeah, now let's talk about the cons of Texas. You know, like the good thing about California is the weather, right? Like the weather is always amazing. But the cons of living in Texas, this weather is fucked up. this weather is like one day you get really hot, and the next day you get really cold. You know, by really hot I mean like 100 and above, and then really cold I mean really really cold. I remember last year I had 4 days without heat, and everything was frozen. A lot of people died out here, and the emergency vehicles can't get on the road because the roads were all frozen, right? And that was not good. So the weather here it's definitely not as good as Southern California, and it's always humid. I hate humidity. And the food here, my God, the American food is great. The barbecue is great, but anything involves like Asian food, it's garbage. They're not real. I don't know why. It's so bad. Asian food here is just not tolerable. They're like Panda Express. I can't stand it. And then, other than that, honestly, I can't complain. This is a great place. You got everything you need. It's like more than better. It's just great. Honestly, it's a great place. Those cons, like, I can live with them, because especially as a young entrepreneur, my God, there's so much opportunities here. So much opportunities. Well, I guess I talked enough about it. I hope it was able to provide some good insights to you. And thank you very much for listening.